Hi all, I wanted to make a quick video about making a split screen setup for commodity trading. 2 days back I had uploaded a split screen setup for options trading. A few have requested that I do the same for commodity trading as well. Commodity setup is a little different to my option setup, so I'll go ahead and explain how I set up my page for commodity trading. Before I begin, I would just like to mention that this is an educational channel. All views expressed over here are only for education purposes. So please do not make or take any financial decisions based on the views expressed over here. Kindly consult your financial advisor before you make or take any financial decisions. Also read the disclaimer below. With that said, let's proceed. As you can see on my screen, I've got the previous setup, which was the setup for Bank Nifty options trading. So what I'll do is I'll remove this. I'll first of all come to a single page. The reason I'm doing that is because there is crude oil, there is natural gas, for which I use a particular setup, and for silver and gold I use another setup. All right, so first we will discuss silver and gold. I generally keep my page to a 30-minute time frame for silver and gold. So we will try and catch silver. So this is silver March futures, and this is how it looks on the 30-minute setup. The only thing that I've got on the screen right now is the sessions break, which is over here. It shows you when a day has ended and the next day has begun. And the only other indicator that I'm using is MA cross. Let's do an MA cross. I've removed the MA cross also now. Let's do an MA cross from scratch. The settings would be, I'll uncheck the labels and values and crosses, and the setting would be 15 by 50. If you're a longer term trader, if you don't do intraday, then you can choose 50 by 200, 15 by 200 over here instead of 50. But since I do only intraday, I will choose 15 by 5050. In fact, I use 15 by 50 even for options trading because it's a little more productive when it comes to intraday. So there it is. I'll change the colors a little bit. So I'll change this green to blue, and I'll change this orange to probably a red. So there goes my setup. Whether I want to use RSI or not is sometimes I do use the RSI, sometimes I don't. RSI with commodities, they work, but not as efficiently as it works for options trading. The important thing to note over here is I've got another screen. I always trade on one screen and I monitor another screen. On the other screen, what I monitor is not RSI. I monitor volumes. All right. I monitor volumes, and the most important thing for the silver and gold is I use advanced Fibonacci extensions. I've made a separate video on that. I've told time and again in all my videos that according to me, the most important video on my channel is the advanced Fibonacci retracement levels for experienced players. There's a video with that heading. Please go ahead and see that video. That will be a game changer for you if you don't already know that. So please go ahead and watch my advanced Fibonacci retracement levels video. All right. So this is set to that. We need to take the recent high to the recent low, and we get this, something like this. All right. And this is, with this setup, if I get so much, I'm good to go with gold and silver. All right. Volume is more important for me than RSI for gold and silver. This is how my page would be set up for gold and silver. For gold, it will be identical to this, no changes. So I'm not going to make a separate page for gold. It'll be exactly this. The only thing that will change is instead of silver, I will probably type in gold over here. Let me just go ahead and do gold. I traded gold M. So I'll get it like this. There you go. This will be the gold page. The most recent high is here. The most recent low is here, which was yesterday. That's enough. The moment I see that, I see the volume at the bottom. That's enough for me to do gold and silver trading. All right. There will be no split screen in gold and silver. I will have something like this, identical to this, probably on top, where I'll be monitoring the volume, and probably on the lower screen, I may or may not have the RSI. All right. But I will use two screens. One will be this setup. There will definitely be volume. There will definitely be a 15 to 20 MA cross, and I'll definitely be using the advanced Fibonacci extension levels. And on another screen, which I will trade, I will probably have the RSI or not. That depends at that point of time. So that will be my setup for gold and silver. Now let's move on to crude and natural gas. So let's first go to crude. Now, before I split the screen, I would also like to mention, even for crude and natural gas, I will monitor the crude and natural gas with the current setup on the 30 minutes time frame with advanced Fibonacci extension in one monitor with volumes at the bottom. And on the second monitor where I'll take the trade, the setup will be a split screen. So where I'll be trading, where I'll be taking the active trade will be split screen. The monitor that I will be monitoring the price action will be exactly what you see on screen right now, exactly like gold and silver. I'll be using the advanced Fibonacci extension. In this case, I will take it from the recent bottom to the recent top, and I'll get this. All right. It'll be exactly the same for natural gas. So on one monitor, I'll be monitoring this screen I generally have in black color. So natural gas will look something like this. All right. Again, what I'll do is I'll take the recent high to the recent low. It'll come up to something like this. This will be on my screen. I will be monitoring this, and I'll be taking my trades on a split screen. All right. So for all three of them, all four of them, this is how I'll be monitoring all four commodities: crude, natural gas, gold, and silver. The only difference is in crude, in gold and silver, I will be taking the trade on a very similar screen. On crude and natural gas, I'll be taking trades on a split screen. All right. So now these are the screens for monitoring. Again, advanced Fibonacci extension levels. Please watch that video. It'll help you make the extension levels that you see over here in my screen that I'm currently using. These are not default Fibonacci extension retracements. These are custom Fibonacci retracements. All right. I've mentioned the levels in a separate video. Watch that video, save that video, watch that video again and again. It's a very important video. Now let's go on to the screen for crude and natural gas that I use for taking the trade. That'll look something like this. So let's first start with crude. Now I'll split the screen because I will be using call and puts. So here I'll have my main screen. It'll be a 15-minute time frame. Again, I'm monitoring on a 30-minute time frame I told you initially, but this is the screen where I'll be taking the trade. Where I take the trade, I will not have the volume. Instead of the volume, I will have an RSI. In this case, I will not change from 70 to 60 and 30 to 40. It'll be on its default setting. The only things that I'll change is the color. I'll make the RSI line a little more darker and bolder. Here also, I will make this line a little thicker. I will make the center line red. and from dashed lines I will make it solid lines. All right, so this will be my RSI at the bottom for uh, the screens where I'll take the rate, and here I will not use I will not be monitoring the Fibonacci. So I'll remove drawings. It'll look like this. I'll change the screen also. I'll remove the drawings on this screen also. I'll remove the drawing on this screen also. Why is it not going? Or maybe there are this is Fibonacci's over here, right? So let me just take that off. Let me come to these screens later on. Let me just mark them as crude right now. I'll remove indicators, and I'll remove indicators. This also I'll make crude. All right. So this will be my, just focus on the first screen, because then we will just tap a key and then the same changes will apply to all the screens. So keep monitoring my first screen. All right. This left hand side, extreme left. So this MA cross will be 1550. The only other thing that I will be using is Keltner channels, KEL, this one. And on this, my setup will be, I don't want the background, I don't want the labels, and I don't want the values. The lower line, I shall make it green. The upper line, I shall make it red. The center line, I will actually not be watching the center line. I only need because the center line is replaced by my MA cross 15. All right. In the input section, length will be 20 and mult will be 3. All right. With this, our setup is complete. We'll right click this and apply this to the entire layout. This is how our layout will look. Reset. Now on the left hand side is our futures. On the center we want calls, and on the right hand side we want puts. So we will right click on this and we will click on options chain, and we will click on in the money. In the money is right now 6400, because you see over here it is 6360, so it's close to 6400. So 6400 is right now in the money. On this screen we'll have the 6400 call. It's come up, and we'll click on the right hand side, the extreme right, and 6400 put over here. You see it'll come 6400 PE. That's it. So on the left hand side we have the futures. On the center we have the 6400 strike price call, and on the right hand side we have the 6400 strike price put. We will do something very similar for natural gas also. It's identical to this. All right. So we can, if you don't want, you can decrease the size of this RSI a little bit. Depends on how you like it. Just make sure that everything is a little more aligned. It can vary, but anyways, so this is how it looks for crude. If you want to do the same thing for natural gas, come to the first section on the left, click on type in natural gas. So this will be the futures. Again, we'll type in natural gas. For it to go to that screen, first you need to take that screen to natural gas futures. So there we go. All three are now showing natural gas futures. On the center screen, we'll click on the right side and we click options chain. Currently, the strike price is 154. So it's showing 155 is the in the money. But I generally choose not to select the in between fives. I will either go with 150 or 160. So in this case, I'll select probably the 160 call, and I will select the 160 put on the right hand side. There you go. So 160 call in the center and 160 put on the extreme right. So this on the left hand side we have the futures, in the center we have the call, and on the right hand side we have the put. Very simple. I don't use calls and puts in gold and silver because there are hardly any volumes in the options in gold and silver. So it's better to trade gold and silver in futures chart itself. But when it comes to crude and natural gas, uh, there is decent volume in crude and natural gas, and it's cheaper to trade in terms of pricing via the options, especially if you're buying options. It's more expensive to trade in futures of crude and natural gas. I would have preferred trading in gold and silver in options also, but there is hardly any volume. So it's no use trading in gold and silver options. So gold and silver, we use that page to trade only in the futures market. And for crude and natural gas, we monitor crude and natural gas on the left hand side, and we take calls and puts as I've mentioned in this video. So just make sure that you're monitoring when you're trading commodities. You have at least two monitors. On one monitor, you'll be monitoring the 30 minutes chart with advanced Fibonacci retracement levels, and you'll also be checking the volumes over there, whether the bars are red or green coming. So that'll be a basic guiding tool, and the screen where you take the trade for gold and silver will be very similar, but for crude and natural gas, you'll have a split screen because you'll be buying. If you're a buyer, you'll be buying calls or puts. Depends whether you're an options buyer or an option seller. Selling requires a much larger capital than buying. So most of the people that I've come across are generally buyers, but you have some big cats as well who are sellers. Anyways, that's a separate topic. So this is my setup for commodity trading. I hope it was of some use to you. Keltner channels, before you ask, let me just mention why I use the Keltner channels. That's because, when you're using Keltner channels, it shows you the upper limit from where the bars will probably take a reversal back. You see over here, it's come up till here, it reverses. So Keltner channel will show you how far it will go on top or how far it will go at the bottom. With time, I've come to, earlier I used to use Keltner channels, and I used to not use MA cross in commodity. I used to only use MA20, and that used to be my center line. Let me just illustrate this in crude, because just give me a moment. Crude moves a little more than natural gas, and natural gas is a very dangerous thing to trade because anyway, so this is how crude looks on 64 call and 6400 put. So yeah, this is how it looked. You can see over here, it suddenly went up, and then it took a reversal from this Keltner channel top. You see over here also how it's traveling. It's not going beyond the Keltner channel. The Keltner channel gives you a sort of a reference, from where things can reverse. All right. So this is how I'll be trading crude and natural gas. MA cross is your choice, whether you want to use. If you don't want to use MA cross 1520, then just use MA20, or just use the default Keltner channel. That's it. And don't uncheck the center line. If you do that, it'll look something like this. If you go here and keep the center line active, it'll look like this. This is also good. See over here on the left. This also is good. So you don't need anything apart from Keltner channels to be trading in commodities. But Keltner channel, according to me, is very important. All right. The only reason I use MA cross is because sometimes I find that this 50 over here is important, because as long as the market is above 50, my assumption is the market is bullish. And when it goes below 50, my assumption is the market is bearish. That's why I replace the center line of the Keltner channel with MA cross 15 and 20. It works for me better, but you may just be better off not using the MA cross totally and just using the Keltner channel. All right. So that will be all, guys. And also remember, in crude and natural gas and in commodities in general, you're better off taking position when you're on the extreme ends of the RSI, and you're best monitoring the RSI on a 30-minute time frame, all right, or 15 minutes also on the extremes. That will be the safest trade. Taking a trade in the center in RSI in commodities is a little risky. You'll get to know that as you keep trading. All right, so that will be all, guys. I hope this video was of some use to you. And if it was, then kindly like and subscribe to the channel, share it with your family and friends. And I'll see you in another video. Thank you very much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.